Hello and welcome to Casual Leaves. So I'm back today with some simple plants, but they seem to be having the biggest problems for me. They must definitely be philodendrons, because I think since the time I've started with houseplant collection as a hobby, and philodendrons were the first I used to get because they are, of course, I think they're the prettiest kind of leaves, and everything about the plants is just so amazing to know and collect, but they are the ones with the most amount of problems, and I'm very sure it's something to do with the climate that we are in here, right? So I have a couple of these plants which are very basic, simple, common house plants, but they just don't work for me. They just don't grow for me, and I have not been able to crack the code with these ones. But these are three plants that I want to talk about today, and perfect thing for that is, of course, tea time. Okay, so the plants that I am talking about today, which I want to fix really urgently, because they've been doing really poorly and here and there, and they've not really had a good run with things, but it's my Philodendron Joepii. It's never been doing good. It was at one point doing fine, but then it fell from the top of the shelf as well, along with my Alocasia mycologiana, which I often keep talking about. I finally got a new leaf, which is a decent one to show and talk about. Really love it, but it takes too long now to push out new leaves. The soil keeps drying out a lot, and I have a feeling the soil has gone hydrophobic, like it just won't hold water at all. So I know that I need to do something with this plant. Maybe I'll put it in water now. I don't think I need to restart it as such, but I just need to change the medium or change the soil. The next one is my Bipennifolium, and no matter what I do with this guy, it just gives me really bad leaves. I think it has a lot of dust on it right now. I've not been taking good care of it, but it just doesn't push out good leaves for me. It pushes out leaves at least, but then they're all very tiny and they go wonky, like they won't straighten up at all. It's it's a stem here. I have a feeling it has some sort of a stem rot for sure, because the stem is sort of thinning down. Over here it's become thinner, and I have a feeling it's not getting any nutrients. And again, same issue with the soil, it just doesn't stay moist. And the third one is my Philodendron Florida Mint Coast. So Philodendron Florida Mint, and it of course has stopped giving me minty leaves at all. Since the time I got it, the leaf sizes have gone down. They are very wonky. This one is the newest leaf. The variegated leaves have completely gone away, which came when I bought the plant. It was a very beautiful specimen that I got, but the leaves aren't really growing healthily. They are all wonky. You can see the color, the shape, everything is going very off, and only a few of the leaves, like this was the first leaf I think I got under my care, which is a bit normal, but this is the older one which it came with, which still has some mint variegation. And trust me, this plant arrived as a very beautiful plant, but now it's just looking really bad. I did repot it once, and it has good roots. It has always had good roots, but if you can again see the soil, I have a feeling it's hydrophobic. It just doesn't hold on to any moisture, anything. So I've got some soil with me now. I don't have enough for all the three plants, so maybe some of them could be in water, some of them can be restarted. Maybe I'll chop and propagate. We'll see. So once we unpot it, we'll see what needs to be done. Okay, so I've just got my soil here. That's all that I'm left with. So that's pretty less for all the three plants for sure. I know of that. But let's start with it. We'll see what we need to do. I'm just going to start with the smallest plant first. Just looking really bad. The plant looks not that great. There's a new leaf. It's been trying to push. And somehow this plastic container I got just doesn't work for any of my plants. I have like put so many plants in this container. It never did well for me. See, it's all dry. I keep watering it almost daily because I know that the soil is like that. So clearly the plant is not getting any nutrients or any support from the soil. It's got roots, but they are very dried up, so I'm not really sure. Yeah, there are some good fresh roots here. Like, this plant is supposed to be a very simple plant, but I've always had a problem with it, always a tough time. In the beginning it was doing well, but I also put it through a lot of changes. I changed its pot too many times. I repotted it a couple of times because it fell a couple of times. I think roots, there is some root rot also. So I'm going to take this to the sink, wash it and bring. But let's see the other plants also in the meantime. I think the next one, oops. When did that happen? This was one of the better leaves I still had. When did I break it? Anyway, can't do anything. There's no node on it. I can't propagate that. I don't have high hopes from this plant as well. Ooh, the roots are good. It has good roots. This is like a proper fresh root. It has many roots. That's a good thing, but the soil is definitely not working for it. So maybe this one can straight go into new soil. We'll see. I think the problem has been the soil. Back then when I got this plant, I had just repotted it immediately when I received it from the seller, and they arrived in a very rough state because they traveled for some 4 hours in a cab before coming to me. So I just repotted it immediately and I forgot about them. And back then I had very little knowledge about soil and plants, so I guess I should now be able to give it a better care. I think I'm going to take this to the sink as well and wash off the soil from the roots. I'm just gonna go and empty this and come as well. Okay, I'm back, and now the third plant. I think here the soil maybe could work still for me, so we'll see, because I did use a better soil on this one, but yeah, the roots aren't really, I think there's too much leca in this one, and I don't know what's the problem. They all have roots, but they just won't grow for me. I don't know why. I don't know what's the problem. I think, anyway, we'll see. I guess the soil was too chunky for it, probably. So I'm gonna wash this and come too. Okay, so I'm back and I have to show you guys the root situation. I think the most interesting one is for the Bipennifolium. So those are the roots. They are humongously long. Like, I have really long hands, and that's the root. So I don't know what the situation is, what the issue is. So it's got good roots, healthy roots. There was a lot of rot also, not like rot from a root rot kind of a thing, but if you know what I mean, like some roots weren't really getting the water and nourishment, so they were kind of in a bad shape, which I tried washing off. There's still more that can be washed off actually. So that's on the Bipennifolium. This is Joepii. Roots are fine. Probably this can be just potted up in soil now. Probably we'll see. And that's on Florida mint. So here the aerial roots, I used to keep pushing it back inside. They have kind of become very long, and even these roots are very long. So a lot of roots for sure. Most of them are like aerial roots, like which have gone in the soil. So all of these are aerial roots. This is the bottom of it. Tons of roots. Then what's the problem? So maybe just the quality of the plant or something. Like, this is funny. It's quite funny. Like collectively there are like too many roots, very little plant. So I'm just gonna give it a think that what exactly I want to do with this now. I think it's broken from here. Maybe I'll just go and get my cutter. Okay, so just gonna go plant by plant. I have my cutter here. Somewhere my objective today is to restart with the plants. So I know there are good roots, and this can again go into soil. But I want to restart the plants because I know the quality isn't good as well. There seems to be just some gene defect, if I can call it that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop the plant in parts and we'll see. So I'm going to chop it here where the last good leaf was. So this can be my base plant, and it can have its roots, and this can go into water. Maybe just gonna clean up all this stuff, all the dried aerial roots. I want to completely restart. So I've given this plant a very long time and nothing has happened, so it's just best I restart it. Maybe there are 2 more plants that I will make from here, because a lot of nodes here, a lot of nodes and empty stem. So I'm gonna chop it off here. So this goes into water propagation, and just gonna chop off this leaf and this node here. So I'm gonna try a wet stick maybe for this one, and this can go in water. So this and this goes in water. This can go in soil if I have enough. So that's on Bipennifolium. And let's have a look at Joepii, because that's gonna be easier. Here I'm just gonna chop off some roots just so that the plant kind of wakes up, and I'll leave some, of course. I'll try to chop off the darker roots. In some senses, some of the roots are actually not that healthy. They look fine on the camera, but just gonna have that much with me. This can also go in water, maybe, we'll see. And the mint I have to restart for sure, because the mint variegation bit has gone away from this part anyway. This is the only oldest leaf, so I'm gonna chop it off here so that I can have an attempt on getting the variegation back. This has some roots, so this can go in a separate container, and just gonna chop off some roots away from this one as well. This is out. Maybe a wet stick thing here. I think I'm just gonna throw this. It doesn't really deserve spending too much time on. This can go in soil if I have enough soil, or should I'll put this in soil, I think. So soil, water, and even here I want to chop off this stem. It's of no use. I'll just keep it till here. I'm just gonna chop off this whole section. This can go away. So this can go in soil, possibly. Just gonna wind up the roots a bit. Okay. And the top cut here, I'm chopping off this set of roots because they seem to have some weird thing going on, and maybe I'll leave this there and put the rest in water. Just chopped off some older leaves, smaller damaged leaves, and this goes in water. So all my water stuff is on this side. All of this goes in water, and these two guys go in soil. I'll just get the containers. Okay, so I've got the soil here, and I've got these two containers for these two plants. Quickly gonna pot this up. This one bigger, like a box at the bottom. Alright, I'm back, and so this is what we have. I opted for a perlite and a sphagnum moss propagation. So I have I recently saw this when I received some plants from some of my plant friends from YouTube. So they had sent me plants like this with sphagnum moss and perlite, and that really was showing good propagation results. So I thought, let me do that right now. Sorry, I got a cold, so I got interrupted. But yeah, so I was saying that I've gone for this perlite and sphagnum moss combination for all the cuttings. So that's my Joepii. It's the main plant. We didn't really chop it up. I have just chopped off older roots like we saw a bit back, and I have put that in this combination. This is the top cutting of Philodendron Florida mint, which lost all the variegation. It already was having this leaf it was trying to push out. I've just put it in the similar perlite sphagnum moss combination there. And here are two cuttings, the base plant and the top cutting. The rest of it I got rid of it, which is also in this sphagnum moss perlite combination. And I don't know how to really prepare it. I've tried layering it and mixing it up and stuff like that, but that's that. And yes, the base one is here actually, which had proper roots. It had that really long chunk of roots. I have put this in soil. I have watered it. I have watered it with tap water mixed with alum and trichoderma powder. And this is the base cut the mother plant of my Florida mint. We are hoping we get some variegation in this one. It looks cute right now, just one leaf, really cute, but let's see if we get something out of it. This also looks nice. These will be placed in sort of indirect but brightly lit corners of the house. Same for these guys. I would love to put them in the cabinet, but there's no space. Maybe this one can go in. I'll have a look. And yeah, that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining me. This one was a very all over the place kind of video. Like I said, 3 simple plans but really big problems. I had about 30 to 40 minutes of behind the camera work to get everything in place, because these were a lot of cuttings and a lot of plants and a lot of prep work went into it. So I'm hoping you guys watched it till the end, and thank you so much for joining in, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.